action be for someone who suffers from sleep deprivation?
For cases of sleep deprivation where one cannot physically get any sleep due to psychological difficulties, I would typically recommend that a person see a sleep specialist or therapist that can offer guidance and coping techniques. For extreme cases, the person may need medications to induce sleep or cognitive treatments.
Specifically for men, what are the effects of ambition?
Well, ambition is a human condition. So when we talk about ambition, we must talk about the person as well. For someone like Macbeth, their ambition could be their downfall because they don't know when to stop. Their ambition starts off small and then starts to spread like cancer.
How does guilt affect the mind in cases of trauma?
No one person processes guilt the same way, but generally guilt eats away at your conscience and you begin to feel paranoid about everything you do.
Would you consider Macbeth to be a sociopath or a psychopath?
Well, Macbeth is neither. But if I had to pick one, he would be more of a psychopath. To be a sociopath, one must have the inability to feel empathy.
What causes the mind to be easily manipulated?
There are many different reasons, but in cases of marriages and relationships, manipulation is easy because it's someone that you trust and know extremely well. Is this a dagger I see in front of me with its handle pointing towards my hand? Come, let me hold you. I don't have you, but I can still see you. Faithful apparition, isn't it possible to touch you as well as see you? Or are you nothing more than a dagger created by the mind, a hallucination from my fevered brain? I can still see you, and you look as real as this other dagger that I'm pulling out now. You're leading me toward the place I was going already, and I was planning to use a weapon just like you. My eyesight must either be the one sense that's not working, or else it's the only one that's working right. I can still see you, and I see blood splotches on your blade and handle that weren't there before. There's no dagger here. It's the murder I'm about to do that's making me think I see one. Now half the world is asleep and being deceived by evil nightmares. Witches are offering sacrifices to their goddess Hecate. Old man Murder have been roused by the howls of his wolf, walk silently to his destination, moving like Tarquin, as quiet as a ghost. Hard ground, don't listen to the direction of my steps. I don't want you to echo back where I am and break the terrible stillness of this moment. A silence that is so appropriate for what I'm about to do. While I stay here talking, Duncan lives. The more I talk, the more my courage cools.
Malcolm is now the Prince of Cumberland. To become king myself, I'm either gonna have to step over him or give up because he's in my way. Stars, hide your light so no one can see the terrible desires within me. I won't let my eye look at what my hand is doing. But in the end, I'm still gonna do that thing I'd be horrified to do. Today we are here with Banquo. Banquo, how did you feel when my witches gave you Beth and fortune?
The witches, I've never believed a word what the witches said. I just know that they couldn't be trusted in the beginning.
After the encounter with the witches, how did you feel, or how did you know that Macbeth was planning something big?
I could see it in his eyes. I've known Macbeth for a long time now, and I know that when he sees something that he wants, he never loses sight of it.
Given the thought that your son could be king, how did your view of the future change?
Knowing that my son could be king one day gave me a sense of comfort, especially Macbeth, taking the throne was just not it.
Perfect. That leads us to my next question. What has been the effect of Macbeth's reign in Scotland?
Ever since Macbeth has taken the throne, Scotland has been hell on earth. Macbeth was never meant to lead Scotland. Second, he is the disease that needs to be cured.
When did you realize that Macbeth was letting his power get the best of him?
Before Macbeth actually took the throne, I suspected that he killed Duncan, but I had no proof he was a friend to me. But I think I really knew when Macbeth started to dispose of anyone who opposed him.
You're a coward, Macduff! You're a coward!
And our next guest is Lady Macbeth.
Lady Macbeth, how was your relationship with Macbeth before he became king?
Well, before he became king, we were much closer. We communicated a lot better than we do now, and now our relationship is just on the rocks.
Okay. How did being queen feel in the beginning?
In the beginning, it was overwhelming to have so much power, but it was everything that I wanted. However, as time went on, Macbeth became overpowering, and it was no longer able to make decisions or question things.
What led to your husband's demise?
Macbeth's ambition was the cause on the surface, really, but I think his ego had a lot to do with it.
Okay. What was the cause of your psychological difficulties?
Honestly, I tried to carry the weight for both me and Macbeth, and it was too much. The night Macbeth murdered Duncan was the start of my guilty conscience, and after that, everything just started to snowball.
What was your relationship with your dad like, given that you were hesitant to kill Duncan because he resembled him?
My father was a loving man, and yes, I was hesitant to kill Duncan, but because of that. But I would like to keep my relationship with my father private. I don't want his name involved with this.
Okay, I respect that. What did you mean when you said, "Come, you spirits, that 10 immortal thoughts, unsex me here"? Who exactly were you talking to?
That was kind of unplanned. Before I called on the spirits, I received a letter from Beth saying that he and Duncan were on the way to Castle, and he told me about the witch's prophecies. So after reading the letter, I knew that Beth wasn't man enough to do what was necessary, and calls on worldly spirits to give me strength to do it.
Okay, now this last question is an emotional one. Do you think that you should be forgiven, even in death?
I don't think that I'm the person to answer that. I do regret what I've done, but the people of Scotland and all those who are now sleeping because of Beth and I should be our judge and jury.
Lady Macbeth!
Man, I don't care what we got to do, but we got to get Macbeth out the throne and get Malcolm in. Let's go to Burnham.
Have you always pictured yourself in a position of power?
Well, I've always wanted to be more than a Thane's wife, but most of all, I think my role as a wife is more important.
What triggered you to step in and help cover up Duncan's murder when Macbeth couldn't?
The thought of us being executed for the murder pushed me to step up. I knew that I could handle the situation better than Macbeth could.
Interesting. Knowing that the fate of Banquo was in Macbeth's hands, how were you affected knowing that another man died?
Macbeth's actions are something that no one can anticipate. So Banquo's fate had nothing to do with me, nor did I take responsibility for my husband's actions.
I have done the deed. Did you hear that noise?
Yeah, I heard the owl scream and the crickets cry. Didn't you say something?
When?
Just now.
As I came down?
Yes. How did you feel knowing Fleance escaped the murder attempt?
I feel refreshed knowing my legacy will continue and Macbeth's despicable plan failed.
How did your view of Macbeth change from when he was Thane of Glamis to being king?
I had much more respect for Macbeth when he wasn't king because he had more respect for himself, you know? As soon as he became king, it all went to his head.
Do you think that your reign or Macbeth's reign would have better benefited Scotland?
I feel like my reign would be more successful because I'm more level-headed. Yeah. I feel like my reign would be more successful because I am more of a level-headed person, while Macbeth is more sporadic with his decisions.
Okay. What was the cause of your suspicions when Macbeth requested that you attend the dinner?
I noticed how everyone who conspired against Macbeth died or disappeared.
Interesting. How have you been resting knowing that Macbeth was viciously murdered and taken off the throne?
It has been reassuring to know Scotland is now in good hands with Malcolm becoming king.
Thank you, Banquo. That's all the time we have, folks.
Great. Glad you're here. Time to talk business. Banquo has to go. It is his fault that our country is in shambles.
After the events that took place in the play, we believe that Malcolm would be a much better king than Macbeth was, not letting his ambition get the best of him, and now Scotland would be much better off. Do that. Just like me. Do it. No, Quentin, get in a squat. Quentin, you're faking it. Come on.
Quentin, hurry up.
You're a bitch. What would your course of action be for someone who suffers from sleep deprivation?
For cases of sleep deprivation.